Hello, 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 internets. We are live. Good
Yeah,
morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. We have one more of our friend who's lurking in the back room. Let's bring him in. There you are, Hristo.
Hello.
Hey,
hi.
folks. Welcome to Coded Live, folks. Thanks for being here with us. Like I said, wherever you are in the world, good morning, afternoon, or evening. This is kind of a special stream. You hopefully come to us for streams throughout the week, but this one's a special one. And we'll have more of these throughout all of this week, actually, because we had a big release that went out last week. So we just want to break things down and see what's in it for developers. So I'm one of your hosts today, Sam Basu, and with me I have the wonderful Didi and Hristo. Do you folks want to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Today we talk about our new stuffs in the mobile and desktop side. And I'm Didi from the Xamarin team, and I work as a technical support engineer at Progress.
Wonderful. And Hristo.
Hello everyone. My name is Hristo, and I'm part of the WinForms team. I work as a software engineer there, and I've been part of the company for 7 years now, and
Nice.
I really love WinForms and everything native and
Yeah,
the
good stuff.
desktop technologies in general.
Yeah, I think like all three of us here, we love native stuff, which is why we are here today.
Yeah,
All the web
Yeah.
stuff, that's just, that's for the fluffy kids, we are hardcore. All right. So, the magic of technology, we are here on the same screen, but I'm in the US, Northwest Pennsylvania, and Didi and Hristo are in beautiful Sofia, Bulgaria. And it's cold. It's cold everywhere. It's cold in
Yeah.
Sofia. It's cold in my neck of the woods. Let's start. So, like Didi mentioned, we are kind of going to dive into what the release was. Our one release went out last week. There's a lot of things that were packed into it. We just want to break things down a little bit in technology kind of buckets. So today's all things, I think it still says desktop, but it's mobile plus desktop. We are doing both mobile and desktop native stuff. Tomorrow is going to be all things web. Then we're going to do with like .NET, ASP.NET and Blazor. Then we're going to do Angular. Then we're going to do React. And then on Friday, we close things out with productivity. So all the reporting, mocking, testing, Fiddler, all the things. So it's going to be a fun week of streaming. Now, before we get started here, I do want to post a question here to Didi and Hristo. So they're both part of our engineering team. So they're hardcore. They're not like me, who doesn't know anything. Just tries to show up for streams, but with the global pandemic, we have all like our lives have changed, and we are all trying to do the best we can. A lot of things are remote. And before I do that, let's see. Our good friend here, Dan, is here. Hey, Dan. I do have some rakia. So what Dan is talking about is a famous Bulgarian alcoholic drink, which we all love. I do have some of it at home, but they haven't sent me anything new. At some point, I have to just go and get it. And good friend Eva is
we're
here.
waiting for you, Sam, here in Bulgaria.
There we go. There we go. I would love to come down. It's been a long time. So what I want to ask is, a lot of jobs have been remote pretty much only in the last couple of years. But as we know, like hardcore engineering is difficult. There's a lot of collaboration with your teammates. You want to draw things out on a whiteboard. You have continuous builds. So I want to ask the two of you, like, how has your work, and especially leading up to a release, how has that changed in the pandemic where everyone's remote? How has like the way you work with your teammates, how has that changed from an engineering perspective?
For me personally, the thing that has changed is the real personal contact with the teammate is more or less gone, but we still manage to collaborate very, very well. And we're using different tools for collaboration. We're doing code reviews all the time, and we get together with the team every day, and we talk to each other. So we have the communication, but it's not, the personal contact is missing. Sometimes when we go to the office, we get to see each other, and but otherwise it's online.
Yeah, no, well said. And I mean, we have the tools to all of do all of this, remotely. But like you said, like the personal contact.
Yeah, the personal contact is missing, but we have our cameras, and we turn on the cameras to see each other, right?
And Findel in the chat room, good to see you. And Hallway Track, yes, the constant, camaraderie and the chat we have with our teammates, that's missing. But there is technology. At least we get to hang out, with our cameras on. Maybe we have evolved a little bit. Maybe we realize that we can be just as productive at home, but as long as you're getting together, within the boundaries of safety with your team and kind of building that up. So yeah. Evolved world. All right, enough chit chat. Let's get to business here. I'm going to share my screen first to kind of get us started here. Let's see if I can share my screen. That, share, and that is not my car. But let's bring up. No, and don't need the incognito window. Could use a regular window. There you go. Okay, so first thing is, if I head out to blogs.telerik.com, that's where we all blog. That's where all the, all the content that we put out goes out there. But this one's kind of front and center now, the Telerik and Kenda UI R1 release. You may want to bookmark this post because it has the kitchen sink of everything that we put together for the release, which is across all the products. Like DevCraft itself probably has like 20 to 22 different products. So all things web, all things desktop, all things mobile, productivity reporting, it's all here. And this is a great place to start. And you can see the emphasis on design and accessibility as well. Release highlights. This is the place where I go to. And then each product has their own blog post that kind of the PMs put together to say, this is what we did for this release. So it's a nice way to kind of bookmark this one page and be able to find all the things. So this is all the web stuff, which we are going to get to tomorrow with my good friend Ed Sherbno. I'll be on with him, and we're going to break down the Blazor and the ASP.NET stuff. But, like Didi and Hristo mentioned, this is all native today. We love our desktop and mobile apps. So let's start with mobile first, because I think Didi and me like the mobile stuff a little bit more than desktop. And then we have Hristo, who's the expert on all things WinForms and WPF. And then I'll talk about WinUI as well. But let's start with, mobile developer tools. And we got two big things going on. First is
some kind of mix, right, Sam, with mobile and desktop. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and that's a good point, Didi. So now what we are seeing with mobile doesn't just stay on mobile, it's crossing over into desktop. So we got two big things going on here. First is the present reality with Xamarin and Xamarin Forms, right? So we have had Telerik UI for Xamarin for a long, long time now, and we have some big updates in this release. But then we also have Telerik UI for .NET MAUI, which is cooking. So .NET MAUI is it's in preview. Preview 12 is the existing one. Microsoft is aiming to get this out of the door, ready for production sometime by the middle of this year, right? So we are gearing up. So what you see from us for .NET MAUI is a little bit in preview. Hold on. Am I hearing an echo? Maybe Hristo, if you can just mute yourself.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So these are the two big things, and we want to kind of dive into, and Hristo and Didi kind of bring in the engineering perspective as to how things were, where we were shipping things, what were the demos we built, and kind of going a little in-depth look at what's behind the code that's powering some of the UI. So Didi, do you want to start with MAUI or Xamarin? What's your preference?
I think I can start with MAUI. The evolution of Xamarin. So
yeah,
let's review what we shipped for MAUI.
Absolutely. So like I said, folks, like this is the place to bookmark, and then every product has a blog post. So this is our good friend Bianca Bonova, Bibi, as we call her. She has written up all the things we shipped. So MAUI is actually shipping with every preview that Microsoft puts out. So this is a list of all the things we shipped between our last R3 release and also R1 of 2022. So a lot of components. So Didi, I see you have your desktop up. So I'm going to give you the screen here.
Okay. I'm sharing the documentation because here we summarize all controls we have currently for .NET MAUI. And as you can see, we have data controls, DataGrid, list view, and items control. And if you want to visualize some data, you can use our charts. There are different charts: line series, bar series, pie chart, donut charts. And you can use the gauge control, the map control, and the rating control. We have all editors you need to start your cross-platform application development. And you can use the entry control, all pickers like date, time picker, time span picker, list picker. And this is a new control, the masked entry control. We have different type of masks, which you can use: the email mask, the numeric mask, regex mask, IP mask, and text mask. The text mask, for example, you can set a mask to display phone numbers, to enter phone numbers. So you can make it a phone mask, but it will be a text mask. And
Hey,
let's
Didi,
go to
maybe bump up the fonts a little bit on your browser.
the fonts. Okay.
Yeah, like a Control Plus. Or
how is
mouse
it
scroll.
now?
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
Okay. And we have buttons. We have checkbox. We have segmented control, and we have for interactivity. We have the border, the busy indicator. I love the busy indicator.
I love it.
With different animation types, and the pop-up control for navigations, and we have the tab view control. And for layouts, you can use the dock and the wrap layout. So we have so many controls we can use in the cross-platform applications.
I remember, Didi, like we started our .NET MAUI suite right around like Preview 2 or Preview 3 of .NET MAUI, which was like last March in 2021. And we have ramped up pretty quickly. If you do the straight up count, we're up to like about 15. But if you count all the different charts and types, then we are much more. So I'm glad to see the MAUI suite and the engineering and you all just putting in so much effort behind this.
And with the next release, we have an exciting new control, but I won't share the name of the control. Let's wait and see.
Yeah. And like you said, like this is the first time, and I want to emphasize this. This is the first time you have controls from us that work on iOS, Android, and desktop as well. So Windows and Mac, and some things are still in the works, but that is the whole point of .NET MAUI.
Yes, it's still in a preview, but everyone can download a trial and explore the controls and the application. We have the SDKBrowser application for .NET MAUI.
This is your Android device, right?
Yes,
Android simulator. Okay.
Android emulator. And we have all controls listed here, and everyone can explore different examples with each of the controls, with features of the control. Like here is the barcode control. And here is the barcode. This is the .NET MAUI application, SDKBrowser, which ships the Telerik UI for Xamarin. Telerik UI for .NET MAUI, Xamarin later. Yeah. And another surprise, we are preparing a new demo application for .NET MAUI. It will be, as we know nowadays, the cryptocurrencies are very popular. So we are preparing a crypto application using the Telerik UI for .NET MAUI controls.
Yeah, that's
and
exciting.
I will show you the application. But
just don't ask me, Didi, to explain cryptocurrencies ever. I'll fail.
okay.
But before you switch, just one quick question here from our good friend Dan Siegel. Dan actually uses a lot of our stuff, so helps us dog food. The QR code, it is a barcode type for us, and you can embed whatever metadata you want. When you say logo, like you can link to an image or a URL. But Didi, what are your thoughts on this?
URL, I think.
Okay, so when Dan says like, can I put a logo? I think the logo is probably best served when it's hosted somewhere. Then you can link to anything that you want. Could be a web page, could be an image.
Yeah, here in the getting started example we have with the URL for the product page of .NET MAUI, Telerik UI for .NET MAUI.
And while we're doing this, Didi, on your browser, just like go into those three dots and maybe bump up the fonts one more time, please, just to make it a little bigger.
Okay.
And let's see, while you're doing this, some QR codes now have a logo in the center. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Please do tell Dan, and we'll look into it. So we answered his question wrong. He was asking about like a logo that's in the middle of the QR code itself.
Okay.
So yeah. Please do tell Dan. We'll look into it. Okay, so we are still looking at your MAUI sample app, but then here comes the crypto. Show it. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not sure this will be the final look of the crypto, but it will use most of our famous controls like DataGrid. You can see the list view control here. And there will be a navigation in the application. This is the mobile version of the application, but there will be a desktop version of the application with a different look. So you can run the app on Android, iOS, macOS, and Windows, 4 platforms. And here are the charts. You can get data for 1 day, 1 week, month, 6 months, and 1 year. You can switch to a different chart visualization. This is the financial series.
Oh, it's the financial series, yeah.
Yeah, and the line chart, and here is the data grid control, and you can navigate to link, go back to the application and go back to the main screen, but this is the mobile version. As I said, there will be a desktop version. So
yeah.
Let's wait, and there will be more information from where you can download the application.
Yeah, we're going to add this to the product pages, put up documentation, so yeah, we can get to our stuff. And when we're done with, the whole business of making UI components for developers, like Dan is saying, we can launch Telerik Crypto Coin, because why not, right? All right, so what do you want to show, Didi? Do you want to get into this code, or do you want to show Xamarin?
Maybe we can switch to Xamarin and review all new features and the new control we have.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm actually very excited with the biggest thing that we are shipping in Xamarin.
This is our QSF Telerik sample application. And
before you go on, Didi, just to kind of clarify, like we call this app QSF internally because that's kind of what the name of the app is. But yes, you don't need to search for that. You can just go to iOS or Android or Windows stores and just search for Telerik. It's called Telerik UI samples application. That's the same app, and we give you the source code for this as well, so you can kind of see and you can launch it. You can run it locally, or you can just install it on your devices.
Yes, you can explore the source code in the GitHub repo and also download it from the Google Play, from the Apple App Store, and from the Windows Store.
Yep. All right, let's see the app again.
Okay, here is the QSF application, and I've written the blog post for the Xamarin.
And you have likely also written the demo that we are looking at.
Yeah, and let's explore. We have a new control, SignaturePad control. So now you can easily draw a signature. This is not so beautiful signature, but let's delete it. So you can now draw a signature in your applications, and the magic is also you can export the signature as an image. So you can save your signature in a JPEG or PNG format, and you can set the quality of the image, the scale factor. Also, you can, while saving the image, so you can change the stroke thickness of the signature and also the color of the signature. And you can change the background here. And here the background is white, so it's changed while saving. And it's up to you where to save the signature. So here I've used our rat pop-up control to display the image in the pop-up.
This is something I'm very bullish for, because like think about how many apps where you need to collect the user's signature for so many types of applications. Now you have a ready-made thing that you can just throw in your apps and it just works. Lets you save for all the legal purposes or receipts or whatever you want to do with the user. Now you have an easy way.
Yes, and this was one of the most requested controls we don't have. We didn't have in the suite, and we decided to create this beautiful control. And you can also customize the control. So here is the signature stroke. You can change the color of the signature. You can also change the stroke of the signature. And there is a border around the signature, so you can also change the border color and the border thickness.
Yeah, and how is the API to save the signature?
There is a saving settings class with additional properties, so it's very easy to use this API for saving the signature as an image.
Okay, nice.
And as you some know, I'm very proud with our documentation.
It's like your baby. You work on it.
Yeah. And here are the saving options described. You can set the image format, the quality, the scale focus, the background color, stroke color, and stroke thickness while saving the image. So here you can see that we changed the color of the signature, the background color, and the stroke.
Okay,
So
yeah,
now
looks good.
Everyone can add the signature in the application, and here is
Yeah, bump up the fonts. Yes, much better.
Yeah, just one button. We have a clear command. The SignaturePad has a command, clear command, so you can allow the users of the application to clear their signature if they don't like it, so they can sign it again and then save the signature. Yes.
So just the input control, then rat SignaturePad.
Yes, just rat SignaturePad and one button, and we can run this demo. Well, it's super fast.
Well, it's also Android, and this is the fun of mobile development, where you have to keep your systems updated to all the latest bits.
Yeah, here the button is disabled as we don't have a signature. When we start signing, the button starts activating, and we can clear the signature.
So if you wanted to work this with any MVVM framework, I mean, Dan's in the chat room, so you could, like, it has the bindings.
Yeah.
So in this case, like you probably do want to use the border a little bit, because otherwise, like, it looks like an empty thing.
Yes. Let's see the border. XAML hot reload stop, maybe. Sometimes hot reload works, sometimes not.
It's not so hot all the time.
Yeah, not so hot, because outside is cold, maybe.
everything is hot. There's hot reload, there's hot restart, so many things. But it does help, with the inner dev loop. Yeah, so Orion Nick, and again, it depends. Like you can actually create like a grid or a stack layout or whatever, and then just give it some have the parent give it some white space and a border, and then it's obvious where the signature pad is.
Mm-hmm. And I put some border thickness so we
Sure.
can see the thickness of the border, of course.
Any questions, chat room? Let us know while we are going through. So just so you know, like next week, like this week is all streams. We are inviting our engineering folks to kind of dive into some things with us. So this is your chance to ask away all the questions. And then next week, we also do the webinars, which are a little bit more formal. I'm going to lose my hat and have to, put gel on my hair. That one day of the, or like the 3 days of the year where I'm on stream or on camera. But we'll cover all of this again next week. But this is your chance to ask any questions you might have.
Yeah, next week is the webinar.
Yeah. All right. So eventually it will deploy. We can keep moving forward, Didi, if you want.
Yes, we can. Okay. So the next feature, once it was the most voted in the feedback portal. Okay. We have a data table support in the DataGrid control. This was again one of the most voted feature requests in the portal. So now you can bind the DataGrid item source to a data table, and operations you can add, remove, update data, you can filter, you can sort, you can grouping. Selection is also works, and all commands available in the DataGrid. So we have a sample application. So for .NET MAUI, Telerik UI for .NET MAUI, we have the SDKBrowser application for .NET MAUI, but we have similar application for Telerik UI for Xamarin, the SDK application with all controls listed here. And for the DataGrid, we have a data table support category, and you can find here 3 examples: bind to a data table, CRUD operations with data table, and commands bind to a data table. Here is we cannot see here the source code, but yeah, here it is a data table. We can check in our documentation. All examples we have in the documentation, they are from this application. They are from the SDK browser application. And for the DataGrid, here we have a data table support article in our documentation. And here is our view model with data table.
Hey, Didi, back in your browser, you may want to bump up the fonts a little bit more on the browser because it is still a little small. And maybe while you're doing that, I did want to highlight this this link here. So we keep talking that these are the highest voted things. Like when we come up with our releases, like what goes into each release, we're not doing it, out of like a black box. We are listening to customers. We're listening to all of you, and that link there, that's our feedback portal. So you can actually go in there. You can choose whichever product that you are working with, and you can say, I really want this. Right, and then the PMs get to look at that, and we prioritize. We look at the votes. So that's also how you tell us what you want to see next in these suites.
So here we can add item, update the first item.
So you can do full CRUD operations.
Yes, and delete. Also all commands. So
nice.
Here I use the cell tab command, but you can use all available commands we have in the DataGrid. So here they are described here. We have cancel, validate, commit command, double tap commands. So
very nice. Yeah, I mean, the DataGrid is such a ubiquitous control. Almost everybody uses it in enterprise apps. So we keep on enhancing things in the DataGrid, even though the Xamarin DataGrid is pretty full featured, but we still find more things to add.
And another feature, again, one of the most voted, programmatically control the image editor. So if you don't want to use the image editor toolbar in your application, but you want to programmatically edit the images in the editor, now you have this option, so you can use commands. All commands, all toolbar items now are exposed as commands, so you can use the flip, horizontal, vertical, the rotate commands, the hue, saturation, brightness, and all available toolbar items now are exposed as commands. And we have a sample demo here. We have this beautiful cat here, and we can flip on a button click. We don't have here the toolbar, the image editor toolbar. We can rotate the image and the interactive crop. Okay.
Nice.
We can apply or cancel the crop action with the hue. Okay, change a little bit. So if you don't want
you're essentially,
you can use the commands.
Yeah, so you're essentially changing things in the image editor without the toolbar itself. Everything is driven by commands.
Yes.
Nice.
And now we can check the AutoComplete View control. We have an additional feature in the control. You can now change the pop-up position, the suggestion view position. You can decide the position to be on top or bottom, or there is an additional property, auto property. So it's not auto property. The suggestion view position property has an option auto. So if the available space is under the control, the pop-up will be displayed bottom position. And you can explore the property here in the configuration example of the Telerik UI for Xamarin samples application. Now we can see the suggestion view position is set to auto. So if we type in here, the available space position, the pop-up on bottom. And if we change here the position to be top, now we will see the suggestion view is displayed on top. So you can style the autocomplete view now in the way you want the suggestion view position to be displayed.
Yeah, I like it. One quick question based on what you had just showed off, Didi, on the image editor. Orion Nick was asking what image file types can we work with in the editor. So I was trying to pull up the documentation. Do you know offhand? JPEG and PNGs are
JPEG and
good.
PNG, yes, I've used these two in the examples.
Yeah, so Orion Nick, like those are the two obvious ones, but there might be more that we could work with. All right, sorry, Didi, go on.
And we have, from the blog post, we have improvements in the pickers. The accept and cancel commands now expose command parameter, which will be of help in the MVVM scenarios.
Yeah, and I always like the fact that we don't let go of, commanding support or any type of other MVVM support, because, complex code bases will likely use either MVVM that's built into Xamarin Forms, or you'll bring in a MVVM framework and you don't want your UI to holding you back from using MVVM. So it's always one of our priorities to make sure you can work with all the MVVM patterns. All right, cool. Now you're on Windows, and you showed off stuff here in Android. Is there anything more you want to talk about on either MAUI or Xamarin front?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay, how about we flip the thing here a little bit and talk about the dark side, which is Mac and iOS, right? Okay.
But why the dark side?
Well, you're entering Apple's like walled garden, which is beautiful once you enter it, but there are some barriers to entry at times.
Okay.
Right. Let's see. Where is my screen? I had stopped sharing. So let's see. Share that. Okay, I think you can see it again. All right, so I'm going to keep this one open here because like this blog post is so nice to kind of get a feel of all the things we shipped. But a lot of things that Didi showed you, you can actually get access to it and play with it yourself. So all you have to do is go into your mobile components here, and you get to choose MAUI or Xamarin. Like for our .NET developers standpoint, these are the two main ones. I mean, there are other things you can do for web, obviously, or any type of hybrid apps. So you can go into each one of them and then hit that big, red button that says try now. It's going to give you the bits and all the demo applications that we're talking about. So let's start with maybe MAUI first, because that's what Didi did. I'm excited about .NET MAUI because like we are at preview 12. I'm guessing we will have a few more previews of .NET MAUI. The team. The MAUI team, we know them very well. We work very closely with them. They are slowly switching gears into a mode where it's more stabilization and then bug fixes because they are kind of getting ready for the release as well. I'm excited that for the first time we have UI components that work across desktop and mobile, and that's a big deal, especially for things like the DataGrid, which is what customers use. They want to use the same app that's for desktop, Mac or Windows, and then have it for iOS or Android as well. So if you want to play around with this, like Didi showed you, you can do it either from Windows or Mac. On Windows, you do need to get Visual Studio 2022 17.1, at least preview 1 and forward. We are up to like preview 3 at this point, but you need those previews to see the MAUI templates and the MAUI runtimes kind of ship with it. And then you can bring in our stuff through either a NuGet package or, we give you the samples right there. So let's take a look at like if you hit install on that, what would you get? So let me show you real quick how that looks like. So I put all my stuff here in documents. And right here, you can see progress, which is all of our, progress bits, like some of the mobile stuff that we install. We will put it in there. Dan is saying Apple uses cheap labor in China. Are you okay? So Dan is asking a good question. So this is something that's in the works, right? Where can I highlight? So as of preview 11, right? So if you look at preview 10 of .NET MAUI and then preview 11, something's changed, and that's mostly the templates and the C#10 support. There is global usings that are embedded somewhere in your, OBJ directories, and the files are actually much more cleaner. So we are in the process, and we are also in the process, Dan, to kind of move over some of the controls that are in compatibility mode over into handlers. So everything is in the works. So it is absolutely in the works, and we are working on things. But right now, you can see like we have moved over to like semantic versioning a little bit. This is hold on, as of the 0.1.0 release, we are at 3. So this is kind of what you get when you get the when you install. You get the binaries. And the binaries are, for each of the 4 platforms. You get license, you get packages. This package thing is nice. So you actually don't have to go to NuGet if you don't want to. Like the nupkeg package is right there. So you can just like drag it over to whatever project you're using, and you can get started right away. The examples here, that's the sample that Didi showed you, which has all of our UI It's meant to be a sample app, so it has literally one page with all of the UI in together. So let me actually show you what it looks like on a Mac. I'm going to grab the iOS build here. And on a Mac, yes, you can do VS Code, but VS for Mac is coming along. It's not quite there yet with MAUI support. So your best option on a Mac is to use the command line, which is not a deterrent in any way. It works just fine. In fact, I find that command line is more, reliable at times, because Visual Studio is using the same command line tools to do this stuff. So I'm on that same directory where the app is sitting, and I can just do a .NET build and aim for iOS as my target framework moniker, and it does the build. It starts it up, and it realizes it's an iOS build. It's multi-targeted, so it grabs the things that are shared resources from the iOS specific folders. And up comes my default iOS simulator, which happens to be an iPad mini. You can actually switch this to an iPhone if you wanted to, for the list of all the different iPads or different iPhones that Apple simulators come with. So it's trying to do the build, go talk to Xcode, do the build, come back with the app package. It takes a second sometimes. So you can see the splash screen just has our logo for now. And there you go. So same exact app, really, that Didi showed you. And this is what's nice. The same app works on iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac. So if you go back and look at some of the newer things we shipped, you will see a list of all the things we shipped between R3 of last year, which was September or October, and now, which is January of 2022. Let's scroll down to the MAUI blog post. So let's take a quick recap here. So we did list view, we did numeric inputs, and we did dock layout and wrap layouts. We did the tab view, which is like the tabs at the top for Android and at the bottom for iOS. We did the map component. We did pickers, different types of pickers, in modal or otherwise. And we did list pickers, we did custom pickers, where you can just roll with your own templates or styles. This is the timestamp picker. The templated picker is the one where you get to completely customize how you want to look and feel. Masked entry controls. Again, this is used everywhere in mobile apps, right? You want to guide the user down the right path, make sure they're entering things right. So it has all the things that you want. Busy indicators, because your apps will need the time to pull data or get ready. So throw this in front so the user knows at least what's going on in your app. Rating controls, and they're customizable. You can do half a rating if you want, and all of that stuff. So a lot of things we shipped between R3 and R1 of this year. And all of these UIs, I mean, I'm not going to waste time here going through every one of them, but you folks can play around. You can see just for the list view itself, like look at the number of features we have, the cell types, headers, how you swipe to refresh or delete, like you swipe left or right. Loading on demand, like this is virtualization, so you can bind it. You should not, but if you did bind it to a lot of data, we are a little careful as to how we render the binding, so we're not kind of overwhelming the UI thread. Different types of styles, commands, they're all there for you to kind of play around with on iOS or Android or Windows or Mac, right? Didi, what am I forgetting to show on MAUI? This is the app.
Yes, this is the SDK MAUI app.
Yeah, so
it's looking for the iPad simulator, and we showed it on Android. We showed the crypto app, which is
you did show the
coming.
Crypto. Yeah.
So
now I actually have not run this in a while. So let me see if this will still work. I might have some bits that I need, so it may not actually succeed the build, or maybe it will, because essentially what you're seeing is like on the build, I changed the target from being iOS to Mac, right? So Apple has a similar problem. Everybody wants to write for iOS. Not many people want to write for the Mac desktop store. So their solution is to use what's called the Mac Catalyst. It's a little bridge between UIKit and AppKit. And we can render, iPad apps to run on the Mac desktop, right? So that's the solution. Like I said, it's this may or may not work on my system. It's trying to get all the libraries and do the linkings with C#. And while it's coming up, no, it actually seems like it is trying to work. I got some warnings. And while it's doing that, I might try to take a quick look at what Dan was asking in the chat room. No, actually, the build did succeed. And let's see.
0 errors. That's
0 errors, but that doesn't always mean it will work. No, it does work. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So same app, right? Now it works on Mac as a desktop application. You can pin things to the start menu and so on. So it's nice. It's nice to be able to render the same UI on both surfaces. Now, let me open this up. Yeah, go on, Didi.
We can also mention that the people can start develop the applications on Xamarin, and when the MAUI became official, they can migrate the applications to .NET MAUI.
Yeah, it should be a very easy switch. With the .NET upgrade assistance and so on, it should be a fairly easy switch. To answer your question, Dan, doesn't look like we are using the latest stuff, but in terms of our UI, there's really nothing stopping you. So let's see if I can get this out of the way. No, my zooming is way off. But what Dan is referring to is like these using statements. They don't show up anymore in the latest MAUI templates. Which, I mean, our stuff is just a NuGet package, right? And then you have the CSProj, which is essentially linking out to one Telerik UI bit, which is this right here, the package reference. So start with the latest templates, which is going to give you a global using file in your OBJ, and then your MAUI program is much more cleaner. It doesn't have the using statements. This namespace uses what's called a file scope namespace. So it saves you like one level of indentation. So it just says namespace, whatever is the namespace of your app, and you can start writing your classes. So start there, and then our stuff is not going to get in the way. You can still just bring in as a NuGet package. And for most of our stuff, like if you look at the examples, let me see if we have it broken out for each. Let's look at the list view, for example. No, actually, let's look at the main view where we list out all the things. I'm trying to find here. Didi, which one is our main view, which lists out all the controls? Is that in common?
In the pages.
I'm trying to. It's in the pages. Yeah, I'm
pages,
sorry.
Yes.
Homepage, yes.
Here are the example page, control page, category page. Yes.
All the things. Page. Yes. So all you have to do is just like bring in the things from us, like the Telerik data controls, so the list view controls, like a couple of namespaces, and then you can do, the implicit usings for all of the other things. So this one is just like one, homepage that lists out all the controls. So this is just to kind of demonstrate that we have all of that stuff. You can break things out for each of your controls. Dan is saying I could also bug you on the same thing. Yes. Okay. So Dan, I actually let me get back to you a little bit on this front, because like we had a conversation with our engineering. There are some things there are some reasons why we don't want to do this for all of our controls, but some we can. So I actually have a little bit more clarity on this, and I thank you, Dan, for bringing it up. I will respond, and I'll show you what engineering had some concerns with. And I think you have encountered the similar concerns with, MVVM or some of the other ones.
And currently we are working on Preview 11 for .NET MAUI.
Yes. All right, so that's all the MAUI stuff.
Where is Sam?
Yeah. He'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Didi, I don't know if you still have something about MAUI and Xamarin, or I can start with WinForms and WPF.
Yeah, we can start with the desktop site with WinForms, but Sam is here. Yay, Sam!
Hey.
I didn't lose internet. I killed my browser tab.
Oh.
Isn't it? I should have like a thing where like I cannot hit Control Q on a Mac, right? Because that kills the like I wanted to close the other browser tab, but when you do Command Q on a Mac, it closes all the instances of that app. So
And
yeah.
so funny comments here.
Yeah.
No party without me. So
Yeah.
yes, so Lance, good to see you in the chat room. Lance, by the way, runs a lot of our support systems for different products, especially on the .NET and XAML family. So Lance and me have been talking to engineering a little bit, and let's try to get to the bottom of this, Lance, and see what the concerns were for us to switch over to the XML namespace. All right. Dan Siegel was saying, "Lost the internet. It's your job to entertain." No, I'm the chief entertainer. I got the dad jokes all the time. Okay. Right. Now, don't let me close my browser, okay, Didi? Just anytime you see me say like I'm about to close something, you can just like warn me, like no,
Okay.
don't close it. Oh boy. Okay. So we're back, and what time is it? It's we have 52 minutes in. Hristo is itching to talk about desktop, so let me do like 5 more minutes, and then we'll switch gears
Okay.
to all the desktop-y things. Okay, so this is good. We'll keep this one around. And the one other thing I want to show you is the Xamarin stuff, right? So this is very clear here. This is Xamarin. You can see like R3 2021, R1 2021. Those are the builds and those are the releases. And you can go into that. You can find the binaries for each platform. And then this is the app that Didi was talking about. This is called QSF internally, like a quick solution. But you can run this. You can download this on on your iOS or Android or Windows devices, and or you can just get the source code and you can just launch it yourself. So it'll work on any Visual Studio on Windows or on Mac. On the Mac side of things, I'm on VS for Mac Preview. So let's launch this. Fool Snabble is here. Hello, Fool Snabble. Finder on Mac is the most light program ever created. Yes. It is completely light mode, and then if you switch to dark mode, it becomes very dark because everything is just all white space. Yeah, I don't want to update Visual Studio right now, thank you. So you can open up this app and not make it so small like I did, and let's close this. I don't need UWP right now, so I'm going to remove that. That's fine. And then this one might take a little bit of time because again, I have not done this in a while, so it's going to do a clean and do a full build and try to deploy this app. So again, when you look at this app and the source code, we give you the source code with solution on the projects for iOS, Android, but you can run it on whichever framework or platform that you're on. You can't run UWP on a Mac like I am on, but if on a Windows, you can easily run Android and UWP, and you can also run iOS as long as there's a Mac somewhere that you can talk to. Fool is here to bring in observations. No, that's all good. Fool, we love your observations. We love it. So it might take me a little bit to build. It's going relatively fast. You can see it's building the .NET Standard library first, which is this. So all of our stuff is actually right here. So we don't do really, for Xamarin, we don't do anything that is custom to each framework, really. We try to do everything in the .NET Standard library. So all of the controls are right there, and the examples. This is where you see all of the controls that we have put together. That's the SignaturePad that Didi showed off. It's all right there. So it's nicely broken away. So when I run this, you will see like the SignaturePad had the 2 different modes. One is the first look, so you can see how it works, and then you had the configuration. So you can see the view models and the views that drive those views very easily. Like in the first look, if I break it down, that's the XAML page, and that's the code behind. So if I open up the XAML page, you can see, well, this is way too big in terms of font. Let's bring this back down a little bit. So somewhere in here, after all the styles and the buttons and the labels, you will eventually see just the signature pad, which is, let's see, data controls, red borders, right there, red signature pad. So the same things that, Didi showed you, like you have the same APIs with the strokes, the border thickness and color, everything is right there. And you can also like subscribe to events, or you can do, MVVM style commands. It's all up there. It's called engagement. So this might take me a while to build. Let's see if I can stop the build and maybe just start a device build, if that's any quicker. Because this to me is an example, and Didi, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the source code for the app that you see in the app stores for both iOS or Android, right? And we actually don't use an MVVM framework on this app. This is all done with native MVVM support. It's just to kind of showcase that you can have a very clean architecture with the views, view models, and
yes,
any types of behaviors.
Yeah, we have implemented those services needed in the services folder, navigation services, and for the rich text editor examples, file services, how to import, export files in the demo. Yes, there isn't some additional MVVM framework for this application.
Just to showcase that you can kind of do all of this, in-house if you wanted to. And our good friend Curious Drive is here in the chat room. Hey, Curious Drive, rad controls are rad. This maybe Hristo. So Hristo, you said you're like 7 years into working here, or did I hear that right? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm a little older in terms of age. Like I'm about to hit 10 years this March. So you and me have been around. And Didi, how long have you been on the team?
Almost 4 years.
4, okay. So Hristo and I are obviously old, and so Hristo, correct me here. Like the whole RAD thing started with like rapid application development, right? Back in like 2000.
That's what I've heard.
And we have stuck with RAD.
Yeah, and in different teams and in different controls, we're using this in front of the control usually. Yeah.
I'm a little bit older. Yes. I might be needing a walker soon. There is a reason why I wear a hat, folks, just so you know. Okay. I might, update my system because like something's going on with my build, which is taking forever. So I might, kill this and come back and try to show you this. Oh, and I actually have, no, that's not a build error. It's a build canceled. So I was trying to run this on my iPhone, which is like, this is the reason we call it the dark side, because there are things that you need to care about. We'll try maybe one last minute. It's like 10:59 a.m. my time, and then we'll switch over to desktop. No, see, now it's fast. It got threatened that I was about to quit and go off and do other things. So in this case, Visual Studio picks up the iPhone simulator instead of the iPad simulator. It's still running on the latest like iOS 15.2 builds, and you can see the same exact app. And what is nice is like you can actually run this locally, so you can make little tweaks in the UI and just see what it does to your app while you're running this, right? You can enable hot reload and see. So before you actually put any of our UI in your apps, like try it out, play around with it and then see what it does for you.
And we have the dark mode button here.
Yes. Let me show you that.
Have you switched to the dark side?
No.
On your phone?
No. I refuse to do that. I understand it is the right thing to do. And then dark mode makes a lot of sense for accessibility, but I can't do dark mode on my phone. I will do dark mode like on Visual Studio, like especially like late at night. I get it. It's easier on your eyes, but on my phone, I just can't do. But again, if you wanted to, you have the support right here. You just flip one switch and we can switch from, light mode to dark mode. And all of the UI that we paint, we can switch it all to dark mode. So here's a signature pad that, Didi showed you. The same things. My signature is a little better than hers or Dan's maybe. So you can see like
you can save it,
so the same thing works. play around with all this UI. It's right there for you, and the code is right there for you as well. And we are trying to make mobile developers a little bit more successful with all the UI that's ready out of the box. So let's stop here, and how about we switch gears to desktop, because like Hristo is dying to show us desktop stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's stop here, and Hristo, whenever you're ready to share your desktop, feel free to bring that up.
I will share it right now.
Foolish snake light mode is how Steve Jobs intended your iPhone to look like. Yeah, probably, because back then, like in 2007, there was no concept of a dark mode. It eventually got there. Oh, and our good friend Speedo Girl is here. Hey, and it's desktop. Yay! It's a mixed bag, and it's just good that we have both light mode and dark mode support. So let's just leave it there. And Speedo Girl, I hope you're doing better. She's our teammate, and a lot of sickness has been going around in the team. We are all kind of trying to do the best we can. So good to see you here. Okay, let's switch gears, and let's switch to Hristo's desktop. Whoa, I started with the car. You start with the plane.
All right, nice plane.
Is that your plane?
No,
is that your private jet?
Unfortunately, it's not mine, but
it is not. Okay.
Maybe one day.
All right, and before you start, hold on 1 second, Hristo. I'm gonna. Can you hit the little hide thing at the bottom of your screen, because my OCD is gonna bother me.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
All right. Yes, we see your desktop and we see WinForms.
Yeah, that's our QSF actually, our demo application, and I'm going to start directly with it and present to you what we have made this release. Basically,
and Hristo, can I bother you one last time? I promise.
Mm-hmm.
One last time before you start, before you kind of begin. Looks like Jeff Fritz, our good friend, was doing stuff on the Visual Studio channel, and we got rated. So thank you, Visual Studio and Mr. Fritz here. Welcome everyone who just joined us. We are diving into a brand new release that's out. For all of your beloved UI tools, that's Telerik and Kinda UI and reporting and testing and all the things. Today on the stream, we are trying to break down what is new for .NET Mobile and .NET Desktop developers. So I'm Sam Basu. We got the wonderful Didi and Hristo here with us from the engineering teams. We are trying to break down all the things with Xamarin, MAUI, which is what we already covered. Now, next up is WinForms and WPF and WinUI. So all the things you need to be successful on desktop. All right, Hristo, back to you.
Yeah. Well, in WinForms, we did basically 3 big things this release, and we have 2 brand new controls, which are the StepProgressBar here and a nice TreeMap control, and also we have a brand new theme inspired by Visual Studio 2022. It's the light version of the theme, but for all the fans of the dark side, the dark option is coming, so it will be also available soon. I can start with the step progress bar. You see here, this is a nice control where you can use it to basically visually indicate the progress of some task that can be separated into different steps. And here the demo that we have made is basically some kind of an online order, something like this. This is something that we've seen in many different websites, and this kind of progress control has many different shapes, and this was also very important for us when developing it, because we want to support many different scenarios. And now I'm changing to the next demo, which is the settings sample, where I can demonstrate a little bit more about the different settings.
So while you're doing that, Hristo, I gotta say I love this control. This is the classic wizard type look that you see in so many places, and now we can all kind of tell the web folks to say we can do it on desktop, and it can actually look much better than what it does on your web. So I'm really digging this.
Well, yeah, we also love it, and it was great fun while we were working on it.
Can we click on the circles to change the progress?
No, this is by design. We're not allowing this because we thought that this is something that the developer should be in control, but it can be easily achieved, really. You see here we have different settings for controlling the spacing between the steps. I can play with it, for example, and increase it. We have all of these here in this group are settings that control the entire control, and they affect all the steps. You see here the step spacing affects all steps. Here we have different settings defined on the step. For example, someone might want to have a shorter length for some step, or maybe a different shape, for example. We can increase the thickness, maybe not so thick, but we can do it. And two things that are very important are the orientation. We have vertical and horizontal orientation, and we have this inverse direction, which when we set this property, the tasks will start from right to left, and in the vertical direction from bottom to top. Of course, we can hide the connections if we want to. There is a property controlling whether this step here, if we will display that it's in progress state. What this actually means is that this step here has its progress set to some value, which is not 100, and it is therefore it is in this state, in this visual state. What is also important is that we have individual progress properties on each task, on each step, and we can play with it. We can make it 100. We can be less, and different settings. For example, we can create a bigger size here. This will affect the step here, and something else that is really cool about this is that actually the indicators here they support all the Telerik and Telerik WinForms shapes that we have, and we can change them here in the demo. For example, we can use this, we can use this. They're not so interesting, but we can use this. This is a custom shape, and it is quite powerful because it is possible to define whatever shape you want. And here we can even edit this shape. This is our shape editor tool. For example, can create something ugly, but you have the freedom to do whatever you like, and this is really powerful feature.
This is very cool. I didn't know that we had a little shape editor built into this. This is awesome.
Well,
And,
yeah.
our good friend Peter Mitkov is also pointing us to the docs and the rocket shape. This is really cool. So, Hristo, two questions for you. One is kind of just to kind of set everyone's expectations on what you are showing here. This app, this is the WinForms demo app, right? So you can actually get the source code for this. You can run it local, or you can actually go to the Windows Store and just download the app on whichever Windows device you might have, so you can play around with all this.
Yeah, it's the demo application is uploaded to Windows Store, and actually this is the easiest way to have it installed.
You don't have to install anything. You can just play with the app. Yeah. And all of these control settings and the step settings, these are all properties, right? So the developer should be able to programmatically change any of this.
Yeah. A little bit later I can show this in Visual Studio and with one more sample that I think will be quite interesting. But all these are just simple properties, and you have the freedom to. It's very easy to. You just need to set them.
Yeah.
The steps also have this error property. For example, we can indicate that this step is in error state. For example, something bad has happened, and this will automatically clear its progress.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as the user is kind of stepping through a wizard, you can really kind of handhold their progress and show them where they are in the process. Yeah.
Yes, and something else that I wanted to show is that we have 3 layout modes: auto, absolute, and stretched. The auto mode basically layouts the control in such a way that it respects the step spacing, but when there is not enough space for the steps, they get squeezed a little bit. The stretch mode will stretch them, you see here, and the layout mode will, and the absolute mode will use the defined step spacing, but it will also use, it will display buttons if they cannot fit. And to see this mode here, we just need to increase this to, let's say, 200. And we should see the buttons with a very nice animation. So basically, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is very cool. And it's also good to see our friends in the chat room. Hey, Todor, another engineering person. Todor was, I think, on with us on the last release. So good to see you. Okay, so what is the TreeMap?
Well, the TreeMap is another actually, it is a control that I really like very much, even before we had it, because it's a great control that can visualize large sets of data, of hierarchical data, and or data that can be grouped, and it basically groups data by certain measure of the record of the object, and depending on the size of this property, you see a visual indicator here. In this case, this is a rectangle, and this is our first look demo, but we can move to the settings because I think it will be better to look at it. It's the example here is with the world countries population, and the control groups the data by its population and uses such an algorithm that tries to create a square. And as we can see, China and India have the greatest populations, and here the countries, their population decreases. We can enable grouping. We can have a different level of grouping. It is the
So now you're going off continents.
it groups the countries by continents.
So this is great anytime you have any type of like hierarchical data, maybe, or
Yes.
any type of data where you have groups or buckets of things. This is a quick way to visualize which is the biggest bucket and so on.
Yeah, exactly. Here with the countries, there are many different examples. For example, all those countries can be grouped not by their population, but by GDP, for example, or by total area or something else. So it's a great control to visualize this type of data and for the end user to get an idea of how big a certain record in the data is compared to another. So it's very
makes sense.
So great control. And we have, of course, different themes. This is valid for StepProgressBar as well. Let me show you something else about the TreeMap here. This is my browser. I can zoom in a little bit if.
Yeah, we can read now. Yeah.
I want to show that we have different layout strategies. And we saw in the demo the squarified layout, which always tries to create a square or a rectangle as close to square as possible. And the other algorithm is slice and dice, where you see the groups here are grouped linear, like in a linear way. And these are just options so that the developer can choose depending on its real scenario. Another feature, a very nice feature, is that we have different colorizers, built-in colorizers that use suitable colors for making the groups and the items here. And we even have this gradient colorizer, which you see is working with the gradient from the largest to the smallest. Here we have some of the colorizers added. You can see here. And
so you can choose like the presets and the palettes for what type of colors you want to use.
Yeah, all these are built in, and with a single property, one can set.
Yeah, and I can see the benefit of both the squarify and the slice and dice, like based on the type of data and based on what you're trying to show. They can both be.
Yes. Sometimes the slice and dice algorithm may not be so may not fit the data. I mean, it may be not suitable for this particular data, and sometimes the squarified algorithm may not be the case. So there are different options depending on the actual scenario. And maybe
those are the big things in the WinForms suite. But I'm sure like there are updates to many of the other controls, and there's a blog post that talks about all the things.
Yes, we also we fixed many issues, and we had some big improvements in the rendering of PDF documents in our PDF viewer and some
Yes.
memory consumption improvements in different controls. So really important issues that were important for our clients.
So I want to make note of two things here that I think are key. One is, a lot of developers, a lot of enterprises build their workflows based on desktop applications like WPF or WinForms. And you, as a .NET developer, might feel, oh, these are like maybe slightly older technologies, but modern WinForms and WPF run on .NET 6, so it can all run on the latest, runtimes. And also the thing that Hristo mentioned with enterprise workflows, a lot of the times you need those Office type integrations and workflows. Like you're dealing with documents, right? PDFs or Word documents or Excel spreadsheets. Like you want to export them, import them, manipulate them, create them. So we have a whole library, which Hristo, feel free to bring that up on your browser if you want. We have a whole library called document processing. This is how we kind of share the love across all of the UI suites, and we are very, conscious of the responsibilities that come with document processing. It's a .NET standard library, so it works across Xamarin and MAUI and WPF and WinForms. So everything that you need for PDF or spreadsheet or word processing, it's built right in into all of our .NET stuff.
Yep, indeed. And there are features in the Speed Processing libraries that affect our WPF controls, for example, and shortly we're going to be speaking about them. And as Sam said, those libraries, they go into every product and are very, very important for all of us.
Our good friend Ed is here to
Hey,
say hi and also troll us, which is good.
Hi, Ed. Well, maybe if you guys want to, I can show you the new theme just for very quickly. We can start our theme viewer tool directly from the demo application, and you see this is Visual Studio 2022 Lite. We followed the blue scheme there, and as you can see, it's a modern flat theme, I can say. And basically, if you didn't know, we have this theme viewer tool, and so if you ever wonder what theme is best for your projects, you can load it.
And list. How many themes do we have? Like 24 plus, probably.
It's 31 with this
31.
one.
Wow.
Yeah, and as you said, WPF and WinForms are running on the latest .NET bits, and we're also following latest UI trends, because you can see here all those themes are really modern, new, and
Material, Fluent, Office, and Visual Studio.
Yeah, it's really easy to just update your app with a new theme if you want a new fresh look. So we're really following everything latest.
Yeah. And to Ed's point, like WinForms is so productive, and a lot of us kind of maybe started our dev days. It's questionable whether Ed should still be doing dev, but a lot of us started with WinForms, and it's extremely productive to get your apps up and running.
Yeah,
supporting your enterprise workflows.
It's really productive. One of the reasons I think is that the designer is, for the good or for the bad, it's super easy to work with it.
Drag and drop.
Yeah,
and that by the way is not something to be taken for granted, because it took us to have the WinForms and WPF designers run on the latest .NETs and Windows. It's a lot of work that goes into this designers as well.
Yeah, for WinForms it took us almost 1 year to actually release this. If we have time, I can show a quick demo and go back to the StepProgressBar? And
it's up to you. We have we don't have a hard stop at 12 p.m. Eastern time, but we got like another 30 minutes, and I want to show off a little bit of WinUI, so that may be like 5-10 minutes,
yes.
And then you have WPF to show. So it's up to you.
Well, I just want to. Well, I wanted to say that, as Sam said, we're running on the latest .NET bits, and this is also valid for WinForms and for WPF. And we have updated our extensions a little bit, Visual Studio extensions, and they're fully compatible with Visual Studio 2022. And and this is also valid for our WinForms designer, which runs also in Visual Studio 2022 and Visual Studio 2019. So for some reason you cannot upgrade to a newer version, we have you covered with this.
And while you're switching up, one quick here point to note what Little Error is trying to say. Maybe I'm confused little on what you're trying to say here, but WinForms is actually supported. WinForms does work on .NET Framework, on .NET Core, .NET 5, and .NET 6. So the runtime is absolutely capable. Maybe you're talking about web forms, because that you can still run it, but that's not supported on Core or .NET 5 or 6. But WinForms absolutely is.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know. It's definitely web forms is not supported, but WinForms is completely migrated, and I can show you the extensions anyway. That
I mean, for matters, you can actually start up a WinForms project or a WPF project right here in Visual Studio, running on .NET 6.
This is Visual Studio 2022, and our Telerik C# Windows Forms application. If we choose this, we're following Microsoft. This is the default template, and it will create a .NET 6 project. So if I go next.
So maybe Little Error, what you may be referring to is, like, if you're talking about the MAUI side, that's different, because like that is C# and XAML.
Oh yeah.
And WinForms is very much a Windows technology. So is WPF. So you cannot take like WinForms at WPF UI and just kind of shove it into a Mac or an iOS or Android project, right? But you can, like, if you're particularly doing WPF, then it is XAML. You'll have to do the work of bringing it over into .NET MAUI and then recreating it that UI in .NET MAUI.
Well, WinForms and WPF will always remain on Windows, and in terms that .NET 6 and .NET Core is cross-platform, it is, but that's why in WinForms projects you have to specify the OS binding in the target framework moniker. It's Windows.
Can you bump up your fonts here a little bit, Hristo? Because like right there, you see that runtime. That's .NET 6 Windows. So that is WinForms or a WPF app. WinForms in this case running on .NET 6.
Yep. That's it. You can build it, and it will be just an empty project. But it should work just fine.
And our good friend Lance is here. Lance, you should not be showing our age here like this. Like, you're just exposing us really badly. I spent like 2 years on Silverlight. I spent probably three years or so on Windows Phone, both beautiful UX and UI wise. Basic and Fortran. I did some COBOL. I did COBOL for like a year and a half. Yeah, Dan, if you have to run, we understand. Yeah. Have a good day. We'll see you around.
Well, with this template, we have updated the project SDK, and we're using Fluent as a default theme also. And we have the Telerik .NET 6 NuGet installed.
So it's essentially like you can start with the regular WinForms or WPF project and bring in the Telerik NuGet package, or you can just like start with our template, which gives it to you out of the box.
It depends. It's always easier to use our extension and the template if you start a new project, but it's super easy to, if you have an existing project, just install the NuGet from our NuGet server, and you should basically, it will just write it here in the CSproj file, and you should be good to go. Yeah. It will require your Telerik credentials, but that's okay.
Yep. Quick question here, which I'm sure like there's a lot of stuff to cover on WPF as well and WinUI, so we may not get a whole lot or everything in there. But to Lethal Error's question here, what's your take, Hristo, on how we do authentication or authorization? Because this is all desktop, right? So there is nothing new to discover. It's all however you do authentication in your desktop applications.
Well, yeah, I don't think that there is something special about this here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I mean, you can do, user ID password like you have always done, or, most of the cloud providers, if you want to do OAuth, if you want to do ADFS, or any of those things will have plugins for you. So you bring in as the NuGet package that will do the little handshake to get you a token. So again, like nothing is different really. This is all what you do for desktop. All right, so that's WinForms. How about WPF?
Yeah, well, we can switch to WPF, and I'll open their demos, and you'll see a demo which looks quite familiar to the WinForms one, because our friends from the WPF team, they created a StepProgressBar control as well. I'll just move to the other demos. Basically, the controls are very similar in WinForms and in WPF. You can control many of the settings with properties, and there are some differences. There was a question if we can click on the steps and change the progress. In WinForms, we have decided not to allow this by design, but in WPF, this is allowed. And you see here you can change the progress by clicking on the steps. And this is controlled with a property and can be disabled very easily if you need to. And
and the justification is somebody's a WPF user, so they must be a little bit more advanced. They can change their progress.
Yeah, and you see all those things like the step spacing, the thickness. Here, this is the actual setting. Can user select? And there is a shape property to the indicator, and I'm going to switch to the other demo, which is very cool, because you see here, this is the same control, the StepProgressBar, and it looks completely different.
Yeah.
Really different. For example, this control here has nothing to do with the one here. And all this is configurable with different settings. It's very easy.
I like that, how it looks completely different based on whatever assets you're bringing in.
Well, while we were making our research for the control, there was so much information everywhere about different kinds of step progress bars, and all those controls looked completely different. So it was really important to support different scenarios.
Yeah. So for the web developers in the house, in particular, Mr. Ed Charbonneau, take a look at what we can do on desktop. How long will it take you to do this on the web?
This is really cool, really. Yeah. Maybe I can go and cover some of the other features.
And there is a lot.
You see here, yeah, there are so many different updates in different controls.
Yeah.
And
So what Hristo is talking about, like this is a list of all the controls. You see those little yellow flags that says UPD. That means that those are updates in those controls.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm going to be real quick and maybe show you some of the more interesting ones. Here, this is the embedded label. It is a very nice feature that you have this label in the watermark text box that moves out of the way in with animation. It was, I think, highly requested feature.
It's
Also.
very nuanced, but it's just so natural. And literally, yes, this is all out of the box. Yeah, this is what you get with WinForms or WPF.
Yeah, and we can move to the map. We have updated the zooming functionality. Now it is possible to zoom between different levels. What I mean is that the levels are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's possible to have a zoom factor of 5.5, for example. And we can play here with this.
Yeah.
And
it's just much more like, fine-tuned control. Like we used to have like the jump step be like integers. Now it's double. So you get to have much more control over how you zoom.
Yep. Our clients, for some of them, the step of one was pretty big. So they wanted some intermediate values, and that's why we did it.
And it's funny, Lita, when you say this is useful for rapid application development, this is where RAD comes from. Like we were having this chat before. Almost all of our controls, like when you throw it on the code canvas, it's always called RAD grid or RAD chart because it's rapid application development. That's why. So also when I say out of the box, it's out of the box as in all of the Telerik bits. So you don't get these from like standard .NET, WPF, or WinForms.
Yeah, we always try to develop the controls in such a way that they're easy to be customized and that we have many important settings exposed so that it's easy for everyone to set them. I can show a nice feature here of the windows. Maybe this is the corner radius. You see here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's something that follows the Windows 11.
Yeah,
styles.
Everything is rounded.
Yep. Yeah, and of course we've created a nice property that can be used with the different windows. It's not only the tabbed window, but also the regular window here. It's something else. The panel bar. This was, I think, a highly requested feature. We have this. Our clients wanted to be able to resize these containers and to scroll them. So we added scroll bars here. We also have a big scroll bar if necessary. And again, this is something that was requested by the community. Something new in the Gantt view. There is a new property which basically tells the control to fit everything here. The view here, you see, it has a start date and an end date, and with auto-size timeline, the view will be calculated in such a way that it fits the start and the end. And you can see it here in action. Something else, we can check on the window. The new feature here are the rounded corners. I can tell you a little bit about the spread processing and the words processing. As you know, these two products are part of our document processing libraries, and we have for the spread processing two nice features. The first one is to add notes, and the second one is to create conditional formatting. Basically, it's possible. The thing here is actually a screenshot demonstrating the end result, but it's possible to create a document completely in code and to add these notes here.
So anytime, Hristo, like anytime the user is working with an Excel spreadsheet, they might add notes to specific cells, right? And you can save those notes and export that out as is.
Yeah, and now it's possible. It's possible for the developer to create documents like this, and have it exported to Excel, and we can test this actually here with.
Right there in DocWith Notes. No, it's already done. It's on your desktop. Oh, you're opening it. I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's here.
And then this is
and that's
there you
the
go.
end,
There are the
the
notes
end
right there.
result. Yeah.
And this type of document, importing and exporting and opening a document and manipulating it, either a PDF or a spreadsheet or a Word document, this is so common in just about every enterprise workflow. So we're happy to have the document processing support this. And all of the benefits that you see here, like Hristo is showing this off in WPF, you can do the exact same thing in WinForms, right? Or Xamarin, because it's the same project.
Yes.
Yes, the same. And also in WinUI, the same features.
And even I think in the web teams, it's also possible with in some of our web products. There is another feature in the spread processing libraries. These are the conditional formatting. Here we can format the different cells depending on the actual values. For example, here greater than, and I'm not going to show this in Excel, but the idea I think is clear. And
so, Hristo, I can actually, I think the blog post has a beautiful screenshot of exactly what this looks like. And I can pull this up when I'm showing it. But essentially what Hristo is trying to say is based on the value of the cells, you can format each cell differently. So it becomes like almost a data visualization tool to be able to have such rich visualizations that are conditional based on the value of the cells.
Yeah.
And no worries, I can pull that up when I'm sharing.
Yeah, well, I have the blog opened here. It's
right there. See that
here.
Right there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you can actually summarize and give the user a lot of visual feedback just based on the values of the things that are in the cells.
Yes. And if we go back to the demos, and based on this feature here with the notes, as you all know, we have controls that utilize the spread processing libraries, and this is the spreadsheet control. And it has a brand new support for nodes. And here is the sample. You can play Sudoku if you want to. And these nodes here they're supported by the document, and as you can see, they are supported by the control. We have UI to display them. Here there is a menu. You can show them, hide them, and so on. You can edit them.
So let's quickly, maybe I'm watching the time. We have maybe another 14 minutes, so I'll take maybe 5 to 7 minutes to talk about WinUI. But to Little Error's question here, how are we managing the data? How can we save it? So all of this is in memory, Little Error, right? So we have access to the entire document tree when we are building it and we are manipulating it. Now, when you import or export, most of these things are out of the box with what is native. So it exports as an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document. Now, if you wanted to not deal with files and actually put things in a database, you could, because you have access to the entire, the C# object that is being used to render. So, theoretically, you can put it anywhere you want. It's an object. You can flatten it as JSON or put it in a database if you wanted to.
Yep. All this is natively supported by the format. For example, the comments, they're supported by the Excel format, and the document is working with this API. And later the control knows how to display those nodes. And it is pretty much the same with the Word files, the docx format. And we have a nice new feature in the word processing libraries. It is that it is possible to create a nested mail merge. I can run the demo if you want to.
So maybe tell us, Hristo, real quick, what is mail merge?
Well, mail merge is you have some kind of a data source added to the control or a data source that you will be working with it, and you use it to apply it to a certain template, for example, like this email template.
So, folks, when you're getting those emails, those marketing emails from 1,000 sources where they say hello username within a bracket, it means their mail merge failed and they failed to pull your actual name from a database. So it is you bind it to a data source and then it auto populates at runtime.
Yep. This is the result. Well, it's in the dark mode, so that's why it may look a little bit strange, but here this is a nested mail merge, and you see here that all these 3 or 2 actually persons are merged.
Yep. Their client names are not client name.
Yes.
Hello, unidentified. Yeah, that's the classic, right? Nothing says that you are a valuable customer when you call it hello unidentified or undefined. I do know. I write a lot of our spam emails. I do know stuff about spam. Okay, very well. All right, so we're like 10 minutes left, Hristo. What else do you want to show?
Well, maybe I think that's pretty much everything. WinForms and WPF.
Okay, maybe one last question before we switch to WinUI, and this is a good one. So, Hristo, I'll let you answer this, and then I'll maybe add my 2 cents.
About entity framework. Well, my personal opinion is that this is maybe the best object relational mapping tool. So if I could use it very, very often. In our demos, We have demos with Entity Framework, but not all of them are using it, simply because of the demo specifics. But we have demos that are using it.
Yeah. So, Lethal, to answer your question, it's yes and no, because since some of those are hosted demos, like we don't want to force somebody to have a database, but there is nothing stopping you from working with any ORM in particular, open access ORM for life. But in particular, Entity Framework is the one of the most popular ones out there. So we have demos where the grids or the charts can be easily data bound to Entity
Yes.
Framework things.
And yeah, I can confirm that all WinForms controls that can be data bound, they support it. And I'm sure this is also valid for WPF.
Yeah. And look at that list right there. So we
Yeah.
have probably like half a dozen really hardcore WPF samples that are out there for you folks to kind of play around and see what the UI can do. All of those are migrated now to run on .NET 6.
Yes, this was the last thing that I wanted to say, and
sorry,
I almost
take away your thunder.
Sorry. And I almost forgot. So
There
that's it. We have migrated all those apps to .NET 6, and they can be downloaded. Their source code is also available, so you can play with them and check whatever you want in those projects.
Absolutely. All right. How about we switch gears one more time here? Hristo, would you mind if I share?
No, go ahead.
So let's address the one last thing here. Let's see. Yes, you can see my stuff. Okay. So, and we may have saved the most exciting thing for Windows developers for the last here, and that is WinUI. Okay. So let's go down here to WinUI, and this is our good friend Colin here. He's going to give me a hard time to say, why did you save WinUI the best for the last? But, this is the future, right? So if you are starting a brand new greenfield Windows project or an app today, this is likely where you want to be because it is the latest UI UX framework end to end for all things Windows, right? So it kind of sits on top of .NET Native and as well as .NET Win32, and it works on store apps. It works on desktop apps. It is completely Fluent inspired in terms of a design system. So this is where you want to be. And we put out this blog post to say, here's what's new. But in there is also the announcement, because right now we're sitting on Windows App SDK, and things were in preview for a long, long time. But WinUI 3 is now out of the gate as a part of Windows App SDK. This is what you get when you run the latest Windows 10 or 11 and you want to run Windows applications and you get the SDK. So that's the stack we are sitting on. So it is the latest Windows stack, and our WinUI suite has come up really fast, in terms of the number of controls. Because if you think about where like WPF or WinForms is, that we are sitting on like 15, 20 years of investment, and WinUI has had to catch up and fairly fast in the last like 1 year or so. So this is all the cool stuff in WinUI, and this is coming from Colin. And we got a lot of things like buttons. We got buttons of every type. We got mapping with the zoom thing that you saw for WPF or WinForms. We got DataGrid, grouping panels, and where the panels position are. Masked input. I'll talk about this and the reason why it's a breaking change and why we changed. And again, the same things that you get with spread processing and word processing. The same mail merge. The same conditional formatting. This just looks so nice. And the nested mail merge. If you have multiple tabs, it's all brought together. Or from multiple data sources. So this is really nice. So this is WinUI. Obviously, I can't run this on a Mac, so I actually have to go to my...
Sam, I have the WinUI demo running on my machine. If you want,
I have it running. No, I have it running too. Because I had to switch to the brighter side, So this is my Windows. It's running on Parallels as a VM. So my joke is in wintertime, I never have to run heat in my house because the fan just keeps on going, keeps me warm. Right? It's a VM. But you have to get all your Windows app bits. You have to get WinUI 3, the extensions, and then it lights up. and you can just go to our, the WinUI product page, which let me show you what that is real quick. So if I go to Telerik, and if I go to desktop, and if I go to WinUI, you want to hit that big download button. That's going to get you all of our bits and the examples. And just take a look at the number of controls here. This is all within the last 1 year. Like, that's how fast we have had to kind of churn and make sure we are ready for all the things we want to show up in WinUI. So get the bits, and you can run the same app that I'm running here. So I'm going to launch this, and actually, you can start with the source code. Here's the source code, and you can run it on desktop or as a UWP store app. And all of the examples, like all of the things are right here. So I can run this locally and just kind of look at all of the controls in action. But what we do with WinForms or WPF is true here. You actually don't even have to open up Visual Studio just to kind of play around with it, because the code, the parts of the code that are relevant to that particular UI, if you want to look into it, we embed it in the app itself. So you don't even have to go look at Visual Studio. So here's the WinUI demo, okay? And again, I'm running this as desktop. You can run this as like a store app as well. Let's see, chat room. Whenever I get a cold, I start my Docker. Yes, Docker will also do that to you. Yeah, and the whole virtualization of things with like multiple mobile simulators running and Docker containers. And Ed and some of the other folks, you also do AR, VR, like there is no dearth of heat from our computers these days. Anyway, so this is the WinUI control gallery, which has a lot of things. Let's take a look at all these different demos or all these different controls. And all of this is nicely broken out. For example, if I go into, let's say, buttons, right? If you look at it, it has the first look and the supported types, right? So I can go into supported types. These are the different types of buttons we can have. And all of this, it's very easy to follow. So if I were looking at this in Visual Studio, I'll go find the buttons, right? And then I'll go find the first look or the supported types. And then I open up the XAML. And sometimes they have a little, view model behind it. And this is the code that's powering that UI. Or I can just look at this, how the buttons are now named differently. There are different buttons for different types. Or I can just close this down, and I can just simply work on the app itself, because the relevant UI is just right there. So we got different types of buttons. This is a regular button. And why do we even have a button? Well, because the native button that you get with WinUI or WPF or Xamarin, it has limitations. We can put the buttons on steroids and give it all types of functionality through our APIs, right? Putting an image behind it, making it a toggle button. So we can do all of that. So this is like a segmented control that kind of you see on mobile devices. That's a drop down. And this is a rad split button. I think somebody in the chat room was asking about different types of buttons. Take a look at what we can do. Here's a split button. So that's a regular button. And in fact, let's show the toggle button here. So that's a toggle button that has an on-off state. And then right next to it, you can actually also embed a drop-down menu, right? So multiple ways of giving your input options to your users. And like I was saying, the code is also right there. So I don't even have to open up Visual Studio, and I can zoom in on this if the zooming will work. Like right there, you can see the rad drop-down button, rad split button, rad, it's all right there so for you to look into it. So we actually just highlight each XAML view and the corresponding code behind file. This one doesn't have anything, so you can just explore all within the same app. So buttons are new. You can start with some of the buttons. The data grid has a bunch of new updates here. You can see anything that says new. This data source, I'm guessing, is probably the table thing that
they have the DataTable support.
They have the data tables too, right here. Let's see, where was the grouping? Maybe it was on the sales dashboard. Yeah, it was.
Yes,
so
yes.
Take a look at this, grid here. It has all types of, records that we're pulling back, and they're grouped by region or person or order ID. And I can move things around just like there. That's actually the default now of where we put the groups, and you can change things around. You can close down a group. It's just so nice to kind of go through some of this data that's showed like this. Here's the map. The same thing that Hristo showed off with WinForms and WPF. It's the same here. You can check out all the other demos, but this zooming thing is real nice. So again, we have a starting point and the zoom step and the zoom here. We can really control exactly. Now this is by integer, but again, we can go down to the double digits, the doubles, and really control how we want to show the map. And actually, in terms of the maps data, you can bind this to really a lot of different types of sources. There is S3, there is, probably a dozen, mapping providers where you can get your data. And this is like, we are showing a geographic map here, but this is also very good for showing like a stadium map or like an airline, seating map. So it's really flexible. It lets you have all of those APIs on top of whatever is your, data provider. Now, this masked input here, let's look at maybe the first look here. So this is a change because things are honestly just too complex nowadays with masking. For what do we do for emails? What do we do for regular regex or social security numbers, phone numbers? So these are actually now broken away into 5 different masked inputs. So we are not overloading a single control too much. So your usual stuff is all right here, and I mean, as you type, it gives you all the right
yes,
notifications.
because we have different properties per mask, so it's easier to separate them.
Yes,
like email mask, IP mask, text, regex. And...
yeah. So if I look at the code here, I'm sure right here is you can see the different types of masks: red masked email, red masked text, red mask test input. So they're nicely separated out because we have different properties for different types of masks. Spreads processing, I'm not going to spend too much time, but the same like conditional formatting, you can do that on every type of Excel spreadsheet that you load up, and you can do that on WinUI, you can do that on WPF or WinForms, so whichever else is using document processing. So and the same with like word processing, we have the mail merge right there. So same exact demo, but it works on multiple platforms. And this is kind of the benefit of having an abstracted document processing library, because it's a .NET standard library for us. So we can share the love across different UI stacks, however you're building your apps. Lethal, did you guys use C#? Yes, yeah, they're written in C#. Yeah, most of them, yeah. Okay, so WinUI is I mean, there's a lot of controls, and I'm sure like Hristo kind of sees this and is a little jealous of how quickly WinUI has come up the ranks. WPF has what, like 150 plus controls, but WinUI has ramped up really quickly. Because I mean, a lot of our engineering teams, like we have this similar expertise. It's XAML, it's C#, so we know how to do this across different platforms.
And WinUI, they have another application, the CRM application,
yeah.
and it's also updated to SDK1.
Yes. So where was that link? Is it up here for WinUI? Maybe they don't link it here because they had the links for I think the WPF project. But WinUI also has the theme builder. They have a CRM, and all of those things are updated as well. Do you know if they're running on .NET 6, right?
They have updated to the Windows SDK1, the CRM application, and the this application you showed.
Yeah, so if I head over here to, let's say, WinUI demos.
Yes,
so this is the regular demo, but I'm sure we list out the other demos somewhere in the docs as well. Maybe documentation demos. It's somewhere in our docs where we can link out to some of the other demos we have. So this is the default demo that I showed you. If not, we should add it to the docs because those are really nice demos to kind of look at. But like we saw with WPF, like there are things we do just to kind of showcase. Let's see if I have any of that installed from the past. I may have from the last release, or maybe I don't. Let's see, CRM. Actually, I do have it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to run, or maybe this is from the last release. So it may or may not run. It's trying.
It's loading.
It's loading. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, so this is as realistic a CRM app as it gets. Uses all types of graphs and charts and data grids. You name it. This is kind of our showcase of what a full-on CRM app needs to look like, and you can build this with all the UI that we provide, out of the box. So I mean, you can check out the app, you can check out the source code. So, we are trying to help. We are trying to see what developers are wanting to build and how can we help, with more samples and more demo applications. Oh, Lethal Error, you are in for a treat, my friend. This is coming up tomorrow, okay? But there is nothing stopping you right now from going out and looking. We were amongst the first to come out with controls for Blazor, and we have ramped up quickly. If my old friend Ed Charbonnet was in the chat room, he'll be like jumping in delight that somebody's asking a Blazor question. But take a look. I mean, we have had so much of web stuff, for ASP.NET, MVC, Core, web forms. But the Blazor thing is obviously the hottest and hippest thing. And we are up to a lot of different controls that are out of the box. Like, take a look at this and take a look at the flags of how many things are updated or new. So a lot of love for Blazor as well. All right. So let's. We are actually beyond our allotted time, but we can hang around a little bit and maybe do some Q&A if there are any. Let's see. Napal M684. So yes and no. There are different types of licenses. Licensing gets complicated based on all the things we are doing. If you're a student, you get all of this stuff. If you are an influencer, like a Microsoft MVP or a GDE, you get all of this stuff. And there are things that our sales folks work with, for indie developers or small single-person shops, and we can customize some things for you. So please get in touch with us, and then we'll try to help you out. Okay, so Didi, Hristo, what is like the one thing that excites you the most about this release? So Didi, let me phrase that to you first for MAUI or Xamarin forms. What's the thing this release that you are most excited about?
About the Xamarin?
Yeah, like what's in the suite? Like
the signature pad. I will try to improve my signature on the emulator. Yeah, and also the DataTable Support. I know how important was this feature for our customers because we have received so many requests about this feature. And about MAUI, I'm waiting for the crypto app to go live. So everyone can explore the source code and can run the application on 4 platforms. And I'm excited about the new control, which is coming. So,
which was a secret.
Yeah. I won't mention the name of the control.
No, we're trying for we're trying for another mini release either this week or early next week. We'll see. But the MAUI space is very exciting. Like for the first time, like I started saying out, like you have the same controls across desktop and mobile. That's a big deal. Yeah, Foolish Navel, you are a de-influencer. You are bad influence at times, but we love your observations. You're awesome. You're awesome. Hristo, what about desktop? What were you most excited about?
Well, honestly, I'm really excited about the StepProgressBar and
that's beautiful,
and the TreeMap also. These 2 controls are very important, and WPF anyway, they had TreeMap already, but now in WinForms we also have it, and the StepProgressBar is available in both suites, and I think they can cover many scenarios, and our developers will be very happy.
Yeah, well said. I mean, the 3 of us here, we are big fans of native, as you can tell from all the mobile and desktop stuff. But we are also open to other things that are coming up. With .NET MAUI now, you can kind of put web stuff into desktop applications, and so why not? With the modern web view, you can bring in some web stuff into your desktop as well. But if you are building hardcore native apps for Windows, you have all the ammunition from us that helps. All right, so it's what time is it for you? It's like past 7 p.m., isn't it? For the 2 of you.
Yes.
Okay, it's time for a drink or time for dinner for sure. Yeah. Every release, I keep saying this, like for the webinars, you kind of see our DevRel folks, which is me and Ed and some of our other folks. We stand on the shoulder of giants. We stand on what these teams are building for the last 3 to 4 months. So Hristo and Didi, I know you are super busy, but thank you for taking the time out to come and just hang out with me, show me some of the stuff so I can learn. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for watching.
And
it was
folks,
a pleasure for me, really.
I'm glad. And folks in the chat room, and Lance is thanking you, and Didi again, and Fool Schnabel, Nepal, Lethal Error, who else? I'm forgetting names here, but you folks have been so great, to ask us questions and keep this interactive. And so thanks for your time. I think we are 15 minutes over, but that's it for this stream. This is all the mobile and desktop. Tomorrow, come and join us at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. And we can talk about all things web, with Blazor and ASP.MVC and web forms and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we love our trolls. Engagement is all that matters. Yeah. All right, folks, that's it from us. If you are in the Americas, go have lunch like I am going to, and Hristo and Didi, go have dinner and have a great rest of your day. And our folks in the back rooms, thanks for supporting us on the social channels. And we shall see you on the next stream. All right. And that's tomorrow.
Thanks.
All right, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.